Poetic Line, Episode 2, The Mechanics of the Poetic Line. Welcome back to the Poetry of J.P., where we explore the rhythm and meaning behind the lines that make poetry come alive. I am your host, J.P., and today we're going to break down the mechanics of the poetic line. How does it work? What makes one line sing while another one falls flat? Let's find out. Defining the poetic line. So what exactly is a poetic line? In simple terms, it is a sequence of words that form a unit within a poem. But there's so much more to it than that. The length of the line, its rhythm, and how it interacts with the lines around it all play a crucial role in how the poem is experienced by the reader. In traditional Western poetry, the line was often structured around meter. Take this famous example from Shakespeare's sonnet number 18. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Each line here is carefully constructed, with 10 syllables following an iambic pentameter pattern. This means the rhythm alternates between unstressed and stressed syllables, creating a musical quality that feels natural and almost like a heartbeat. But not all poetry follows these strict metrical patterns. In free verse, the line length and the structure can vary wildly. Instead of relying on a set meter, poets use the natural rhythms of speech to guide their lines. Here's an example from Walt Whitman's Song of Myself. I celebrate myself and sing myself, and what I assume you shall assume, for every atom belonging to me as good belongs to you. Notice how the line lengths vary, and there's no strict meter to follow. Instead, Whitman uses the natural flow of language to create rhythm and emphasis. It's more conversational, more direct, and yet it's still poetic. Expanded historical context of free verse. To deepen our understanding of the poetic line, let's take a brief detour into the history of free verse. The shift from structured metrical forms to free verse didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual process that reflected broader cultural and literary changes. Poets like Walt Whitman and Emily Dickinson began to push the boundaries of traditional poetry in the 19th century. Whitman's Leaves of Grass was revolutionary because it rejected conventional rhyme schemes and meters, instead embracing the natural rhythms of spoken language. Whitman wasn't just breaking the rules, he was redefining what poetry could be. Emily Dickinson, though less overtly radical, also experimented with line breaks and unconventional punctuation to create a unique voice. Her poems often defy easy categorization, blending the old with the new in ways that continue to resonate today. This evolution continued into the 20th century, where poets like T.S. Eliot and Ezra Pound fully embraced free verse, allowing them to capture the complexities of modern life in ways that traditional forms couldn't. This historical shift is essential for understanding why the line is such a powerful tool in contemporary poetry. Enjambment and its impact. One of the key tools poets use in free verse is enjambment. This is when a sentence or phrase continues beyond the end of a line, creating a sense of momentum and forward motion. Enjambment can create tension, emphasize certain words, or even change the meaning of a line altogether. Let's take a look at T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland. A heap of broken images, where the sun beats and the dead trees give no shelter, the cricket no relief, and the dry stone no sound of water. Only there is shadow under this red rock. Here the enjambment creates a sense of continuity, but it also creates suspense. The reader is carried from one line to the next, building a sense of anticipation. The word only at the beginning of the fourth line is emphasized, creating a stark contrast with what comes before and after. Enjambment can also create surprises, as in Robert Frost's The Road Not Taken. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. The pause created by the line break after the I and the dash adds emphasis to the speaker's choice, making it feel more monumentous, even though it's a simple decision. Discussion on variations in line length. Another fascinating aspect of the poetic line is how variations in line length can create different effects within a poem. Long lines can give a poem a sense of expansiveness or breathless energy, while short lines can create tension, urgency, or a sense of precision. Consider how Whitman's long lines in Song of Myself create a sense of abundance and celebration. The sprawling lines mirror the expansive themes of the poem: self, democracy, and the vastness of the American landscape. Contrast this with a poet like Sylvia Plath, whose shorter, more fragmented lines in poems like Daddy create a sense of urgency and psychological intensity. These choices aren't arbitrary. They're deliberate decisions that shape how we experience a poem. By playing with the line length, poets can control the pacing of their work, guiding the reader through different emotional landscapes. Before we close, I'd like to offer a small challenge for those of you listening. Think about the poems you've read recently. How did the poet use line lengths? Did they use long, flowing lines or short, chipped ones? What effect did this have on your reading experience? If you're feeling inspired, try writing a short poem yourself. Play with different line lengths. Try writing the same poem with both long and short lines, and see how the meaning or feeling changes. I'd love to hear about your experiences, so feel free to share your thoughts with me. The mechanics of the poetic line are complex, but they're essential to how a poem communicates its meaning and emotion. Whether it's through meter, line length, or enjambment, the choices a poet makes about their lines can change everything about how their work is received. In our next episode, we'll explore how these mechanics translate into emotional resonance and how poets use lines to create specific moods. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for tuning in to the Poetry of J.P. Don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. And if you're enjoying the show, leave it a like. It helps others find us too. Until next time, keep reading, keep writing, and keep exploring the power of the poetic line.